Las Vegas, Nevada is what many consider to be the epitome of hotel destinations in the United States. Holding the global record of over 150,000 hotel rooms, it is a mecca of hospitality. However, there are 3 ultra-luxury hotels that stand above all of the rest, and this week, I did my standard hotel review of all 3 of them to see who really is the best on the Las Vegas Strip. Before we start our first hotel, let's go over the categories for each review. The categories are the ambiance, the room, the dining, the service, and the it factor. We're going to go in that order for each of them. And with that, let's dive in our first one. The Four Seasons Las Vegas is a luxurious oasis on the south end of the Strip. It's connected to the far less lavish Mandalay Bay Hotel, and it's non-smoking and non-gaming. However, it is not the only hotel in this 3-hotel review that is like that. It's considered by many to be one of the very best in town, and the hotel thinks so too.
There's not another property on here that is like this. I guarantee it.
Their first impression of us is how they will see through the rest of their stay experience.
It has been a AAA 5-Diamond Award winner for 19 years. So let's start with the ambiance to see what all this excitement's about. Let's start with the pool. So there is one official pool at the Four Seasons here, but guests do have access to the Mandalay Bay pools next door. The pool is fairly large, it's warm and chlorinated, but there's not really that much to see here. There are, however, a couple of interesting perks at the pool. For one, they trade pass complimentary frozen fruit skewers every hour. They have Evian water spritzes they bring on hot days, and you can even book a massage next to the pool, literally sitting in your lounger. So I don't know if I would probably get my feet massaged next to the pool in public. That's a little bit strange, but apparently it was popular enough to continue to offer it. Through the valet is the main reception area. So there's some seating here, a concierge, you have a cafe that we'll take a look at in the dining segment a bit later, the steakhouse, and the check-in desk. But everything really does feel like it was built as just a relaxing way to get away from Las Vegas and just have some peace. Walking through the public spaces of this hotel, generally the interior design is clean, minimalistic, and a little bit inspired by Las Vegas in the way they do the floors and the carpeting. However, it is definitely elevated here at the Four Seasons with their art installations. So a few of them are more pronounced and well-known, like this crayon poodle behind me, but others are actually local artists from the Las Vegas region that are rotated seasonally. You can see that on the walls. Inside the Four Seasons is a Forbes 5-star spa. And with almost every booking of this hotel through Amex or through a travel advisor, you get a $150 credit to that spa. But here's the catch. All of their treatments, massages start at around $290 for 50 minutes, plus tax and tip. So that's definitely on the higher end of what we've seen on this channel. This is the gym, which is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It has modern equipment and a lot of space, so I'm overall quite impressed. In fact, most of the times that I have come here, there's been almost no one in this gym, which is nice when you're trying to get a quick workout in. Now, there are no complimentary workout classes. Yoga is an additional cost, so we've seen a better value at other hotels, but we will talk about that at the very end of the Four Seasons segment. Now let's speak to the grounds, the plants, and the maintenance. So most of the plants here at the Four Seasons are green and real, which is very impressive given that we are literally in the middle of a desert. However, some of the plants, especially the flowers and the fruits, are plastic. Now that personally doesn't bother me, but there have been other resorts on the channel that when you have real fruits and you have real flowers, you can just smell that in the air, and it really contributes to the atmosphere of that place. Again, I think personally the water conservation is more important than having real flowers here, but you decide when you stay. So the hotel itself is attached to Mandalay Bay, as I said before, but there really aren't that many public spaces. There's the welcome reception and the lobby, but other than that, there's not really much to do, which might be the point. Those are all of the public spaces here at the Four Seasons. It kind of feels like they have more gift shops and meeting rooms than public spaces for their guests, but the spaces that they do have available are well furnished and clean and very peaceful and calm. The spa wasn't the best I've seen, the gym wasn't the best I've seen, but overall it is pleasant. I gave the ambiance a 6.5 out of 10. We have our room card. Let's review the room. Now, before we continue with the Four Seasons, I want to take a second and say if you're enjoying this video, please give it a like below. Now, I don't normally say things like that, but it really does help get this video seen by more people. With that, let's get back into the Four Seasons because there is a lot to see. There are 424 rooms here at the Four Seasons Vegas, and 81 of those are suites. That's a lot of rooms for a luxury hotel, and they're all located between floors 35 to 39 in this building. The rest is condos and residences that you can purchase. My first impression of the room, you walk in and it feels like a Four Seasons room. Simple, clean, minimalistic, but nothing in here that really distinguishes the sense of place. They say that the interior design is inspired by the Mojave Desert outside of the window, but to be honest, I think that's wishful thinking, and I'm not really getting that in here. The artwork is monochromatic, the color palette is very simple with sands and whites and creams and beige. Nothing really that interesting in the room that I could find. Now, the price point for this room goes anywhere between $510 a night and up to $1,100 or more per night, depending on if it's a weekend or if there's a convention in town. We'll get into the value at the end of this review, but for now, let's take a little bit of a look around. This will be a short one because there's not a lot to see in here. On this side of the room, you have this incredible Four Seasons bed. If you've seen the channel before, you know this is my favorite bed consistently in every review that I've done, but we're gonna test it tonight when I sleep in it like always, and I'll let you know in the morning how the sleep is. Everything over here is modern. You have a touchless phone charger, you have a phone, but it is missing an iPad in this room. Most Four Seasons, especially the newer ones, have iPads where you can communicate with the concierge and order room service, and I didn't find that in this room. Not a major inconvenience, but definitely missing a modern touch. There's a wall-controlled thermostat, which we are in the desert, but it gets very cool very quickly, and it's a comfortable overall environment. Online, when I was doing research, I saw that this room is very pet-friendly. So if you come with your dog, for example, they give them a treat on check-in, you have a dog menu, and they can even bring your pet bedding into the room so they have a comfortable place to stay. I haven't really seen that at many other hotels, and they really advertise it, which I think is a great feature. Other than that, the only impressive feature in this room is the view. Up on the top in the dry goods area, there are a couple of other interesting things as well. They have a Four Seasons branded power bank and a Four Seasons branded water bottle, which go for $44 and $49 each. That just gives you a sense for how they're pricing the minibar here. It's Las Vegas plus Four Seasons, so it's an ultra premium. There are a couple of complimentary amenities, including Lavazza pods, and a Lavazza espresso machine, which I'm going to try tomorrow morning, and a couple of box waters. Let's go in the bathroom and test that shower. The bathroom is a single vanity with a simple mirror and overall a very simple design and layout. There's a small separate toilet area with decent lighting, and once again, there's really not a lot to talk about in here. You can see that yourself. But we do need to test the shower. The shower test is 3 criteria points. That is the size, the ease of use, and the pressure. Starting with the size, it's a little bit inconveniently placed over here. You're kind of in the kitty corner of the bathroom behind the main door next to the bathtub, so maneuvering is a little bit difficult, but once you get into the shower, you have plenty of space. Now, there's no seat or anything in there that would allow you to actually sit down like we've seen at some other luxury resorts, but it is a spacious shower. It's also not a rain shower, so you have this head spout up here. There is no handheld, which is very interesting. Most luxury hotels will have a handheld sprayer, but that probably means the ease of use is pretty easy. So you turn this knob, which turns it on and off. The more you spin it, the higher the temperature. The less you spin it, the colder it is. Very simple, very easy to use shower. Keep in mind, however, the reason it is so easy to use is because there is no handheld sprayer. That could be a major inconvenience for people who are used to something like that in a hotel. Testing the pressure is the final criteria. The pressure is very mild, it's very soft, it's almost dribbling out of the top. So this does pass the shower test, but there's an asterisk there, which is that it's far from the most lavish, luxurious, or elegant shower that we've seen on this channel, and it's decently comfortable, but does the job. All right, I have one more surprise for you now in this room segment. As an added bonus, this is the presidential suite at the Four Seasons. It is one step below the penthouse here, and you can see the size alone is a major difference. There's a 10-seat conference table. It's a standard one bedroom, but you can add on 2 other bedrooms if you'd like. But for now, let's go back to our room. I'm going to sleep in this bed, wake up, and tell you how it is in the morning, but I can already tell it's going to be the same as all of those incredible nights on Four Seasons beds that I've had on this channel. You can see how soft it looks here. It's got a pillow top mattress. Very excited. Before I do go to sleep, however, I want to call the front desk and order room service breakfast for tomorrow morning. A little bit later in the service segment of this hotel's review, we're going to see if the food showed up on time, if it's hot and fresh, and if they got it correct. So let's call the front desk and get some sleep.
Thank you for calling In-Room Dining. How may I assist you?
Hi there, could I order breakfast for tomorrow morning, please?
What time would you like this delivered tomorrow?
Could I have it for 7 a.m. tomorrow, please?
Okay, wonderful. What can I get started for you, Mr. Walker?
Could I please do an Eggs Benedict and a black hot coffee?
Did you want cream or milk with that?
No, just black is fine.
We'll have this out and delivered by 7 a.m.
Wonderful, thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye. So this is normally when I push one button and all of the lights in the room turn off, which is pretty standard in luxury hotel rooms. However, there's no such function here at the Four Seasons. So you have to actually walk around after turn down service and turn off all of the lights in the room by hand. A minor inconvenience, but the first time I've ever had to do it on this channel. All right. The bed is as good as I say it is every time. It always contributes to the room score, which I'm about to give right now. This room is overall relatively unremarkable. It's pretty neutral in almost every way, bland in the color palette, in the offerings, in the modern touches and amenities. Nothing really stood out in this room at all. There are some hotels on the Strip that are very, very creative with how they actually integrate into the space, and to say they designed this to look like the Mojave Desert, I think is a big stretch. The shower test was passed but fine. The bed is very comfortable, so I did take that into account, but I gave the room a 6.5 out of 10. Now, I want to get changed and try the 2 restaurants that they have on site here, Bourbon Steak and the Veranda. Good morning from Veranda. This is a Mediterranean-inspired breakfast restaurant connected to the lobby with a outside veranda. They've got classics on the menu, breakfast items that you'd expect at a luxury hotel, but not much more to show you here. The food is solid, high quality ingredients, and overall, just a comfortable, good place to have breakfast. Next to the reception is Press, which is a coffee shop for light bites, grab and go, and specialty coffee. So you can grab your drinks, have a seat, get some work done, and smell that fresh eucalyptus coming from the spa next door. It is a great addition to the culinary journey here at Four Seasons. And speaking of that journey, the crown jewel is bourbon steak, which I'm gonna head next door for dinner in just a minute. I can't wait to try it. Now, the main dining establishment here is called Bourbon Steak. It was created by renowned chef Michael Mina, who was actually named one of the 50 most powerful people in American fine dining by the Robb Report. This is an American steakhouse, and the menu looks incredible. And of course, I have to get dessert. So the first dish just came out here very fast, mind you. This is the tuna tartare, which is Chef Mina's specialty here. It has pine nuts in it, and they actually mix it for you right here at the table, and he made it into a little heart on the plate as well. So talking a little bit more about this menu, it is an American steakhouse, but everything on the menu is elevated or creative. So for example, instead of a cream spinach soup, they did a cream spinach Pop-Tart. Instead of your standard tuna tartare, they make it into a heart and mix it here for you. Instead of bread, before your dishes come out, they place 3 different types of duck fat fries that have different dipping sauces. So just good indicators of the different unique things that they're doing here. Has a kick to it. Very fresh tuna. There's a little bit of a jalapeno on top, so there's definitely a kick that lasts in your mouth. A very good first dish and a perfect starter for what I'm sure is to come here. This looks incredible. So this is their spinach Pop-Tart. Look at that. It kind of reminds me of a spanakopita, which is a Greek dish with phyllo dough and spinach inside. It has the same kind of consistency and texture, crunchiness to it. It's like magma inside. So hot, but worth it. Cannot slow down. Very, very, very good. This is a creme brulee cheesecake. So they literally brulee the top of a cheesecake here. Very smooth, very creamy, rich flavor, but so heavy. You are definitely gonna have a hard time walking out of here if you order multiple dishes, because wow, these dishes are fantastically good, very heavy, and they make you want to eat every last bite. The dining score. Now, let's address the obvious. There are only 2 restaurants here, breakfast and the steakhouse. That's definitely gonna hurt the dining score, just given that other hotels have more options. So considering that, and the fact that all of the dishes that I had were good, I had nothing negative to say about the dishes, although not many were standouts other than that Pop-Tart, I gave the dining a 7 out of 10. Now, the service at the restaurants was excellent. So good, in fact, that I almost didn't notice that I was being waited on or served. Every time there were crumbs on the table, they were cleaned immediately. Everything I needed and asked for came out right away, and it was fast and efficient. Let's see if they continue that quality of service in the rest of this hotel. All right, so the room service breakfast has officially arrived. It is 7 a.m., so they brought it right on time. They not only have an 18% mandatory gratuity, which is normal for room service, they also have a $10 service charge for bringing it to the room. So this can start to get pretty expensive pretty quickly. We're going to talk about the value in just a minute for this hotel, but keep that in mind. So here's the Eggs Benedict. It does feel a little bit underwhelming, but remember, this is not the dining segment. This is just about the service, so we want to make sure that it is fresh, hot, and that everything is accurate. And so far, it looks pretty good. Some black coffee. That's great. It's hot. Fresh, very good. All right, let's test these eggs. Decently runny, a little bit thicker on the poached side. The hollandaise is very thick. It's not coming out at all. I saw some of your comments about how I eat the Eggs Benedicts without using the hollandaise. So this one's for you. So look, it may not be the most beautiful plating, but the flavors are really, really robust and excellent. Look at this, however. I've always felt that in any kind of dining scenario, you eat with your eyes first. This looks a little bit more like a hockey puck than a hash brown. Flavors were there, and for the purposes of the breakfast service test, they definitely passed. However, we won't know the service score until we give this hotel the official service test. The service test is the part of the review where I call the concierge and ask for something that they're not used to hearing. I've asked for a lot of strange things on this channel before, like even a camera made out of chocolate. Here in Las Vegas, there are so many different types of shows you can go to, and many of those are magic shows. So I'm going to give this same service test to all 3 luxury hotels in this video and see how they do. Let's give them a call. Hi there. Could you transfer me to the concierge, please?
Absolutely. Allow me 1 moment to connect you.
Thanks for holding. This is the Walker Party.
I have kind of an odd request for you, if you don't mind. Excited to be here in Las Vegas, of course, and I was wondering if there's anyone on your staff that potentially would know any magic tricks. I just want to do a fun surprise. It could be a card trick. It could be anything like that.
I will have to do some research. I'm not certain if we do. Is this the best room to call you back at?
Yes, this is perfect, or text is fine as well on the Four Seasons app.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, let's go walk around the hotel, talk about the service in general, and come back and see if anyone knows any magic. So the service. The check-in process is smooth, fast, and has a welcome drink. The luggage was very fast coming to the room, but otherwise, most of the team is hands-off here, other than the text system. They did just text me and let me know they do have a magician available at $450 US for the hour. Let's head to the room and meet our magician. I am very excited for this magician, so I have no idea what he's gonna look like, dress like. I have no clue what to expect. Apparently he is one of the very best. Okay. Hello, how are you? Ryan.
Ryan, pleasure.
Nice to meet you. I like the suit. Do you have a favorite trick or something that you normally do, or?
Not really. I just, you gotta just pull things out of the air,
Whoa. That was great. You said you performed for Michael Jackson before he died, right?
Yeah, right before he passed away. And they had a film crew and they were taking pictures the whole time. So there are photographs somewhere. If anybody out there's got a photograph of me doing Michael Jackson's son's birthday party, then let me know, okay? It's a mystery. Watch, I'll break the wind. This is called The Mystery of the Silver Rings. It's a classic in magic. It's been done for hundreds of years. And I've done 2 shows today, by the way, here in Vegas. Yeah. Silver rings.
Whoa. Amazing. All right, thank you, Dixie. Good night. Wow, that was a magician. Let's give the Four Seasons an official service score. The service at Four Seasons is almost always excellent, and the Four Seasons Las Vegas is not an exception to that. They passed the breakfast service test. It was right on time and very fresh. As I mentioned, check-in was wonderful. They even gave me some chocolate truffles in the room as soon as I got here. And the actual service test was passed as well with the magician. I thought that was one of the most interesting service tests on the channel so far, and I'm excited to see how the other 2 hotels handle it. Now, on the negative side, it is difficult to not have the service be impacted by the pricing of everything. What you didn't see is that in the text-based communication system the Four Seasons uses, they were quoting me $975 US for 2 hours for the magician. They said that was the minimum. All I had asked for was a couple of tricks, and there are some hotels in the world that would have made that work with their staff or charged a more economical pricing for that. We were able to get it down to $450 for an hour, but it's hard to not have that back and forth affect the overall service. Generally speaking, the dining service was excellent. The staff throughout the hotel were always present but not overwhelming. I gave the service at the Four Seasons an 8 out of 10. The final category here is the it factor, which is a combination of three things. That is the value, the location, and the unique nature of the property. Let's start with the value. Is this hotel worth it? So it is far from the most expensive Four Seasons that I've reviewed on this channel. However, every single thing here is at a premium upcharge, from the expensive water bottle and minibar in the room to the very expensive spa treatments. They hardly offset the freebies that you receive, like frozen fruit by the pool or drip coffee in the lobby. You pay a premium for peace here on the Strip compared to other hotels, which brings me to the location. The Four Seasons is very conveniently placed, and you can see straight down the Strip from where it's located. They say this often, but it really is a calm respite from the heart of the action, only a couple of miles away. 25% of the Four Seasons power comes from solar panels on the roof of the building. But just how unique is this property, really? So this hotel turned 26 years old this year, and there really isn't much of a history to speak to that, at least not one that they tell their guests. They've really been resting just on the concept that they are better than other hotels in the area, which reminds me of the Four Seasons Papagayo in Costa Rica. That hotel ended up being a major letdown compared to the other really high-end hotels in the region, so we'll see how the Four Seasons fares. I gave the it factor a 6.5 out of 10. That was the Four Seasons Las Vegas, the self-proclaimed best hotel on the Strip. But now, we're going to review two more hotels in the same fashion to see who really is the king of the city. If you add all of the scores together for this section of the video, I gave the Four Seasons Las Vegas a 34.5 out of 50. Now, it's time to check out and head next door to the Four Seasons main competition. Hotel number 2 is the Waldorf Astoria. This is the main competitor to the Four Seasons because it's the only other non-gaming, non-smoking hotel right here on the Strip. There's a lot that's similar between the two hotels, but some key differences as well. Let's get in there and take a look. I want to start the ambiance section with the pool, or should I say pools. Yes, there are 3 pools at the Waldorf Astoria. There's an adults-only pool, a family pool, and a lap pool. They also have 2 jacuzzis here. All of them are chlorinated, all of them are warm, the jacuzzis are hot, and overall, it's a great time up here. You feel like you're at a resort pool anywhere in the world. You could be on a tropical island, and this would fit right in. A big plus for this pool area are these loungers. On the bottom is wicker, the top is very comfortable. Not everything in the pool area is perfect, however. You can see here there's some pretty significant hard water buildup that's happening. Some of the tiles are broken or uneven in the way they're aligned in the floor, and the lights here look like they would cut your foot open and possibly give you tetanus if you happen to be barefoot walking up the stairs. So a few of these things could definitely be taken a look at. Back out front of the hotel, this is the valet. It is 24 hours, but there is no self-park option. So if you have a car, you're going to be paying the $45 per night fee to valet your car here. Past the valet is the lobby and entrance, which before the renovation, they got a lot of negative criticism for. You used to have to go into the hotel, take the elevator to the 3rd floor, change elevators, go up to the 23rd floor, check in, get your room card, back down to the 3rd floor, change elevators again, and go to your room. It was a very convoluted process, which caused them recently to change the lobby to the ground floor. You still have to take 2 elevators to get to your room, but it's a much easier process now. Inside the lobby, there is 11,000 square feet of Calcutta marble. The redesign was done beautifully in here. The centerpiece, the chandeliers that you have, the lighting fixtures, just truly beautiful when you walk in. However, most of the hotel is up those elevators. On the 7th and 8th floor is the spa. Now the spa closes every day at 5 p.m., which I found to be a little bit strange, given that even as a hotel guest, you have to pay $90 just to have access to it. Of course, if you book a treatment, that's not the case, but just to come and relax is $90 for the day. Let me show you a bit inside. Also on the 8th floor is the gym, and they have tag equipment as well as a couple of interesting, very expensive pieces, like this kinesis machine, which they have 5 of. Otherwise, it's kind of a standard average gym with a decent view of the strip. All of the public spaces have major pros and major cons. They have 3 pools, which is nice, but they're pretty worn down and beat up and potentially a health hazard. The lobby is grand and lavish, but you have to take 2 elevators to get to your room. The building itself is kind of cold and lifeless, but the interior is remodeled and brand new. The list goes on and on. For all of these reasons, I gave the ambiance a 7 out of 10. I've got my room key, which has an illustration of the Waldorf Astoria here on it. And you can see the hallway leading up to your room is beautiful. There are 389 rooms here, and 58 of those are suites. However, all of the rooms in this building are from floors 4 to 22. Above that are residences for purchase. Looking at the room, it is clear that this has been recently remodeled and refreshed. In fact, when I was researching this room, many guests would complain about the quality of the materials, the furnishing, the difficult to use lighting systems, and the lack of privacy for the bathroom. I'm happy to announce all of that has been fixed. This room is really beautiful, and you can feel the level of care they put into it as soon as you walk in. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Over on this side of the room, you have this wooden panel that actually solves the privacy concern in a very elegant, beautiful way. So they've incorporated a privacy moving wooden panel to block the shower and did it with style. Continuing over here, you have the bed. So I'm going to sleep in this and review it in the morning like we did at the Four Seasons, but I can tell you at first glance it is not as inviting as that other bed. It looks great, it's well made, it looks very comfortable, but we won't know for sure until tomorrow morning. The interior design and decor very much so surpasses the Four Seasons as well. Just look at this backsplash here behind the bed. So well done and so beautiful. It also very nicely complements the artwork in the room. It's also so much more personalized to Las Vegas and the Waldorf Astoria. However, the minibar still has the same issues as the Four Seasons does: high prices and lack of variety. So, in this drawer here, you have your minibar items, your dry goods, very similar to what we saw over at the Four Seasons, and similar pricing. For example, this Fiji water is $19. Yes, it is Las Vegas. It is going to be expensive at the minibar. It's almost a trope now. However, you're at a luxury hotel, and it'd be nice if there was a little bit more of a complimentary nature to some of the things in the minibar. What I did like about this minibar, however, is nothing is pressure censored. As a guest at a high-end hotel, I've always felt that the pressure censoring of a minibar feels almost like I'm being disciplined for touching it or moving it, and adds a little bit of anxiety. I like to know the hotel trusts me, and that if I'm going to take it and use it, I'll pay for it, of course. So that is the case here. They just trust you that if you eat it and use it or drink it, you'll pay for it. Down here is the refrigerator. And one thing interesting about this, there's alcohol in the fridge as well, which is a little strange. Usually you see the alcohol somewhere else, placed in the minibar area, but they have packed this full. You can't put anything else in that mini fridge. An espresso machine, complimentary pods. That's really about it over here. Now onto the bathroom, but before we get there, I want to show you how they solved that lighting issue I told you about. So the shears, the drapes, and all of the lights are now seamlessly controlled by this touch system. It's here on the wall. The modern touches are very much appreciated. Let's test the shower. I don't usually do these bathroom reviews sitting down, but they did provide this very nice chair, which begs the question, how is this all available at a base level for this hotel at only $375 US per night? On the weekends, it can get up to $1,000 or even more, but most nights of the week are right around this price point. Everything you've seen so far is included in the base level room. And with that, this massive bathtub. It's a soaking bathtub that you have here, a walk-in shower, and a separate toilet area. That renovation really did up-level all of the materials in here as well. And you can see that in the dual vanity, beautiful crystal clean mirrors here. And they also changed out their amenities from Ferragamo to Aesop, which I actually think was a step down, but both are great brands. Now I have to test the shower. Size here is about the same as most luxury hotels. Comfortable, spacious, nothing much to be said there. Ease of use is where this shower definitely needs some support. So it looks at first glance that it would be very easy to use. You have hot to cold functions on the dial. The top has a rain shower or overhead shower and the handheld, but it doesn't quite work. Let me show you what I mean. So you turn this, which turns the shower on, no problem. But the dial is currently in the center between the overhead and the handheld. If I turn to the overhead only, it actually turns on the handheld as well. If I continue to the other side, which should be only the handheld, it's now lightly coming out on top, more on the bottom. You can see it's a little bit confused about what side is which, and now that I'm using it, I'm trying to figure out how to even turn on only the top, which doesn't now seem to be an option. Unfortunately, this definitely does not pass the shower test because the pressure here is so much lower, given the fact that there's never a scenario where both of these are not on in some capacity. Okay, I'm not sure if that's the case in every room, but it definitely is the case in this one. One final note about the shower. It doesn't smell great in here. It has a heavy kind of damp must smell to it, which could just be the plumbing, which I want to show you now. Much like the shower, the sink plumbing is a little bit wonky as well. So you can hear the pipes literally pushing the water through. So it doesn't actually affect the water flow in any way, it's just the noise, which is not a huge inconvenience, but combined with the shower, and I feel like maybe they remodeled the entire room, just not the plumbing and the pipes. There is one more area to show you in this room, almost like a hidden hallway that also has the robes. There is a little hallway as soon as you come in the room that has a valet closet. The only other time that I've seen this is at the Peninsula in Hong Kong. Basically what it does is you can put anything in here and it's accessible from the hallway and vice versa. So they don't have to ring the doorbell and disturb you. They can just put anything that they need you to have here in the valet box and let you know they've delivered it. And you can also give things to them, like your shoes to be shined, which by the way, is complimentary here. Also in this hallway are the robes. So I'm going to change into one, get ready for bed, and test it. I do feel bad for the Waldorf Astoria. It is tough to follow up a Four Seasons bed. Let's call the front desk for that room service. Get to sleep.
If you mean, thank you for calling in. I'm Brighton. How may I assist you?
Hi there, could I order for breakfast tomorrow morning, please?
Of course, I get started for you.
Could I do an Eggs Benedict, please?
What else can I get for you?
And a black coffee, please.
What would you like to deliver in the morning?
Could I have it for 7 a.m., please?
I will put that in for you and I'll have that delivered for 7 a.m.
Amazing, thank you so much.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. That is quite the view to wake up to of the strip right there. Wow. All right, so I wish I had better news about the bed. The Waldorf Astoria bed was kind of your standard, very firm box spring mattress. Nothing too soft or comfortable, very, very thin top comforter, very much unlike the sleep I had last night. We'll consider it in the room score. This room was a tough room score to give. So on one hand, the renovations and remodel in here really made it a very comfortable stay. The decor, the design, the artwork, all very well done. On the other hand, that shower was frankly unacceptable and the bed was just okay, both of which not as good as the Four Seasons. However, if I were to choose between the two, I would definitely prefer to stay in this room over the Four Seasons room that you saw earlier. It's just more comfortable, more quiet, it's well designed, and overall just has a nicer feeling to it when you're actually sitting here. So considering everything, I gave this room a 7 out of 10. So there is technically 2 restaurants here and 2 bars, but one of the restaurants is more of a cafe and the other restaurant is more of an afternoon tea lounge location. They don't really have an established dinner spot here at the Waldorf Astoria. They do have 2 great bars, however, so let's get in the hotel, take a look at all of that for the dining. Good morning from Zen Cafe. So this is a 3rd floor breakfast location. It's a cafe menu, but they also have some classics here. I'm going to order a couple of the most popular things from the menu, including the pastry basket added to the dining score. This is their acai bowl, and look at how beautifully this is placed here and presented. You've got honeycomb on top, strawberry, blackberry, raspberry, blueberry, coconut, and banana. There's some matcha powder on there. Mouth is watering just thinking about it. Great croissant, wonderful pastries. They heated it up a little bit as well. Overall, solid breakfast here. Nothing really too special on the menu per se, but some great classics. I'm gonna head up now to floor 23 for their lounge/dinner location. For dinner here, this is Hard Shake, which is actually a bar, but they serve Peacock Alley's dining menu. There's not really a dinner establishment at the Waldorf Astoria at all. There are some light bites, some dishes like salmon and shrimp, which are the 2 I ordered here tonight, but most of it is lounge style to share or just to grab and eat as you are having a cocktail. I'm gonna try everything here and consider this all in the dining score, which may be affected by that. The first course has arrived here. This is the curry butterfly shrimp with, fittingly, small curry butterflies on top. Impressive dish. The shrimp mixes beautifully with the curry flavor, slightly crispy but not fried, so it doesn't have that thick heaviness to it. Really great. The main course has arrived. This is the salmon plate here. I'll say at first glance it's a little underwhelming. The salmon is pretty tiny and looks a little bit crispy for my liking. And the salad is a romaine and mandarin orange mix, but only way to know is to try it. Don't say you have to go. It definitely is overcooked. So it's a very dry salmon, kind of hard to swallow and get down, and the flavor just really isn't there. So I'll have to say, unfortunately, this one is a disappointing dish with those butterfly shrimp out of the gate. Quite a large letdown into this one. This dish is $46 US, and I can tell you, if you're gonna come eat here, beautiful views, beautiful shrimp, fantastic cocktails, not the best salmon. So with only 2 restaurants and 2 bars that are worked into those restaurants, it has the same number of dining establishments as the Four Seasons, so we have to consider that in the dining score. The dishes here, however, were a little bit weaker than what we saw over there, and the dinner menu is very sparse, if non-existent. I gave the dining a 6.5 out of 10. Now, service is a key part of a luxury hotel stay. Can't wait to see how the Waldorf does. It is 7 a.m. exactly, so they were perfectly on time with the breakfast service test here. I want to take a look. All right, that is a lot of hollandaise sauce. Wow, that's got to be a record. Our black coffee. Very hot, fresh, tastes great. Let's cut some eggs. That's great. Very runny, that's the way it should look. Not something that I would write home about, and the temperature wasn't as warm as I would like. But again, this is the service segment, not the dining segment. Everything was on time. So they passed the breakfast service test, but we won't know the real score until we test the service here like we did at the Four Seasons. To keep things fair, I have to give the same service test to all 3 hotels in this video. I can't wait to see how this hotel responds.
This is concierge.
Oh, wonderful. I have kind of a strange request for you.
No worries, I can definitely try to assist you with that.
I was wondering if anyone on your staff potentially knows a magic trick.
As employees, we can't participate in that, but I can ask my management just in case. We do have a third-party company that we could do for hire.
No worries. Would it be possible just to check if anyone on the staff knew any magic tricks, or if that's something that's even doable?
Yeah, let me ask, and then I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome, of course.
All right, bye-bye. All right, he's gonna ask the staff to see if anyone knows any magic. Let's go walk around the hotel and talk about the service in general here. Now, this hotel was very clearly designed for people coming to the city for a convention or an event or a business meeting. That's very apparent in the service within the hotel. All of the boxes were ticked, from the check-in to the dining to the room service. Everyone is able to handle your requests, but you may not interface or interact with a lot of people in general when you're in this property. I wasn't blown away with the service overall. However, the staff that I did meet were very kind and very supportive. So this might be a little bit more of a difficult service score to give, depending on if they're able to get a magician. Hello, this is Ryan.
Mr. Walker, I was calling back from concierge. Hey, so no one here at the front desk can do any magic tricks, but if you were serious about having someone, we do have a company that we can hire a magician. Regrettably, yeah, no one at the front desk here knows how to do any magic tricks.
Okay, I appreciate you trying.
You're very welcome, of course.
Have a good night. So they did try. He even put out a chat to all of the staff to see if anyone knows any magic. So in my book, it's the effort that counts. Let's keep it moving and give this hotel a service score. Now remember, the service test is more about if they put effort and time into trying to complete it rather than actually completing it. Sometimes those requests are just not possible, like no one here at the Waldorf Astoria knows any magic, but he did assure me that they checked and texted all of the staff to see if anyone did, which in my book does pass that test. They also passed the breakfast service test here, right on time, hot and fresh, and the check-in experience and the staff around the hotel were generally pleasant. However, if you were to ask me, did I feel more welcome? Did I feel more at home? Did I feel the service was stronger here or at the Four Seasons in Las Vegas? I would definitely say the Four Seasons takes the cake. Here at the Waldorf Astoria, it's just a little bit more cold, and it's not the staff's fault. I didn't really see many staff during my time here at all, other than at the front desk. Continuing with that, the front desk check-in experience didn't have a welcome drink. There was nothing special about it or memorable. One thing I did love in the service here is the complimentary shoe shining service, which I think is a very nice perk to the room. However, you do have to know about it in advance to take advantage of it. The small card that says complimentary shoe shining is kind of hidden in the back closet in that hallway in the front. So if you know it's there, you can take advantage of it, but they definitely do not advertise it in the room. All things considered here at the Waldorf Astoria, I gave the service a 7 out of 10. Like always, let's start the It Factor segment with the value. So this hotel is actually very accessibly priced if you can book it on the right night. During the week, as you saw earlier, it goes for around $300 to $400 per evening, which is much better than the Four Seasons and the Wynn. However, on weekends, it becomes competitive with those price points, but you get a lot for $300 to $400. Sure, there isn't a lot of free things that are in the hotel, but to stay in Las Vegas at a quality luxury stay without gambling, without smoking for that price point, it's definitely a good value. Now onto the location. This is very similar to the Four Seasons in that it's an oasis right on the strip. It's just that the Waldorf Astoria is even closer to the action. You are right in the center of everything. You can see the Aria, you can see the Bellagio, the Crystal Shopping Center. It's all within walking distance, but it still feels like you're staying at a Waldorf Astoria anywhere in the world. Outside of the value and the location, there isn't much here that really differentiates or distinguishes this hotel. Mandarin Oriental used to own the property before Hilton bought it and took over, so there are a few Asian influences in the building itself, but as a guest here, you can't really tell that there's been any kind of significant historical moment or really any history to this property at all. However, the it factor is all three considerations: location, value, and the unique nature, and it's a great location, a really good value if you can get it, so I gave the it factor a 7.5 out of 10. That was the Las Vegas Waldorf Astoria. A bit of a sleeper in the luxury category here, not one that you hear a lot about. However, it was a comfortable stay and my personal favorite so far. If you add all of the scores together throughout this hotel's review, I gave it a 35 out of 50. It is time to check out and walk next door to our final luxury hotel, which just happens to be a fan favorite as well. The Wynn. Quite possibly the most beloved hotel on the Strip and the go-to for celebrities and those looking for an elite Las Vegas experience. It is a triumph of a development with a sister building right next door called Encore, which is all suites. But today, I'm going to exclusively review the Wynn and everything in the Wynn building only. We absolutely have to start with this entrance. All of the flowers that you see here behind me are real. Yes, the flowers in this carousel, the flowers on the ground, all real, all replaced every single night. It costs the Wynn over $100,000 a week to replace all of these flowers and keep them fresh. Now, there is something a little bit odd here. Even with all of these flowers, there's no floral smell at all in this lobby. I wonder if they were genetically modified to not create a scent potentially, which makes sense because if you mix that floral smell with the cigarette smoke from the casino, it could be pretty nauseating. Either way, it's a good call on their part. Now, because the Wynn is so much larger and more complicated than the Four Seasons and the Waldorf Astoria, my team and I made this fun map to show you where everything is. As soon as you enter the building through the valet, you are greeted by the casino. The casino actually takes up most of the Wynn building, other than the 13 restaurants they have on site. I'm going to take a look at the most popular and famous of those a little bit later in this video. The Wynn is also connected to the Lake of Dreams, which is a beautiful art installation, and it's right next to the Wynn shopping mall, which I didn't show in this review. Outside, there's a full pool area, and there's also event spaces. I didn't cover those either because they're not really part of this hotel. All right, now that you know where everything is in the Wynn itself, let's walk through the halls a little bit and talk about the ambiance. Speaking of ambiance, there's a general smoking odor throughout the hotel, but it's very subtle and faint. Somehow they keep everything beautifully maintained and clean. It must be the 24/7 maintenance and cleaning crew that they have on staff here. This hotel is truly spectacular. I mean, just imagine how difficult it is to design and furnish a space of this magnitude. This hotel actually cost $2.7 billion to create in 2005, and you can really tell. They built a curved escalator, which I have never seen in my life. I don't know how they did this, but they did. There is a large casino that takes up the center of the hotel at over 100,000 square feet. Out to the pool, there are pools here exclusive to the Wynn. However, there's a catch. Certain room cards give you access to certain pools. So even though you're staying here at the Wynn, you can't actually go to all of the pools they have on the property. You have to be staying in that certain tower. I'm not a huge fan of that, especially when you're paying this price per night, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. Getting into the pools themselves, they are very warm. You almost have this European, French, Italian style to the pool. The music is very quiet, it's very calm out here. On the weekends, it probably hypes up a little bit, being Vegas, of course, but generally speaking, it's a relaxing location. It's almost like you're in a little village all surrounding the pools that you have access to here. But again, you don't have access to all of them. When you book a tower suite at the Wynn, you have access to the second floor. Now, we're not going to cover the tower suites very much in this review because they're kind of a separate hotel within the Wynn hotel. However, just know that when you book a tower suite, it's like booking a higher level category at any luxury hotel, and you'll have different access. One of those access points are these cabanas overlooking the primary pool. These cabanas are very expensive to rent, and the rate does range depending on the day of the week and availability, but they're one of the nicest cabanas that I've seen at any pool at any resort. I could see this being a really great place to bring the family or some friends for a weekend when you're out here on the Strip. Here at the Wynn, they have a hawk that's sole purpose is to scare the pigeons and grackles at the pool for the guests. You can notice when you're looking around, there are no unwanted pests or pigeons or anything like that at the pool. If we don't include that in the ambiance score, I don't know what we will. Next to the pool is the spa, which is a Forbes 5-star facility, and it is beautifully designed. Inside the spa now, they have astrological signs on the ceiling with this incredible silver circle. This is the co-ed lounge where you wait to get your treatment. They also have vases that line the entire hallway with this nice amber gold light. Exceptional spa, truly. The elevators are beautifully, classically designed and so fast. Now, I do already have my room card, but before we get up to the room, I want to give the Wynn an official ambiance score. What an impressive property. Between all of the different water activations, the public spaces, the sheer size of this building, and how well it is designed, I was incredibly impressed throughout. There were only a couple of small things that I noticed that potentially could be improved, like the general quality of some of the public spaces, but honestly, for a Las Vegas resort with a casino in it, this is truly exceptional. The Wynn is not themed. The theme here really is luxury, opulence, comfort, and they've done that beautifully. I gave the ambiance an 8.5 out of 10. So believe it or not, this is a standard room at the Wynn. Now, there are a staggering 2,716 rooms like this in the Wynn. That doesn't even include the over 2,000 at the Encore next door. To have this much space with that many rooms is extraordinarily impressive. However, at first glance, the materials and the furnishing in this room are lower quality than the Four Seasons and the Waldorf Astoria. But there's some very nice perks in this room that the other two didn't have. One of those core differences with this room is the modern integration and the technology. For example, this is the only room in this video that has an iPad that welcomes you to the room. Now, they don't have a handwritten note and there is no welcome amenity, but they do have a note here on the iPad, which I have never seen before at any hotel, that they welcome you on the actual iPad itself, which is more economical and environmentally friendly, I'll give them that. The bed now is large and looks almost exactly the same as the Waldorf Astoria bed. So I'll sleep in this, tell you how it is in the morning. I know what you're all thinking, what about the minibar? Now, the major differentiator with this minibar is that there are pressure sensors, but they only activate after 30 seconds. So that wasn't the case at the Waldorf Astoria. You have all of your dry goods here that say Wynn on the front of it, which I think is a clever and creative way to present them, and you have your refrigerator down below. Nothing too impressive, nothing that interesting. In fact, none of this really looks that appetizing. It's just cookies, popcorn, pretzels, and candy in front. However, if you wanted to grab something, need a little snack, it is here for you. The fridge is the same way. There's only one unique thing in this fridge, and that is the Wynn tequila. It's a custom branded small bottle of tequila that in about 10 seconds I'm going to get charged for. So I'll put that back. But the fridge itself otherwise is just your standard mixers and drinks. There's some glassware over here, but other than the minibar, there's only a couple of other things to see in the room. You have the artwork, which is very beautifully lit and does look elegant in this room. It's definitely more personalized than the Waldorf Astoria or the Four Seasons. And you have a Alexa. The Alexa is standard in every room here at the Wynn. It can open and close the blinds, the drapes, change the temperature in the room, and turn on music. Let's go test the shower.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
It's a good looking bathroom as well. You have a dual vanity, 2 mirrors, 2 sinks, some contemporary art on the wall, a soaking tub with a waterfall feature, small toilet over here, a couple of very thin looking robes, and the shower. So really, they make sure you have everything you need here at the Wynn and more space than any one person could ever need. Again, similarly here though, if you look closely, the materials in the bathroom also aren't that high quality, not as high quality as other luxury hotels. Let's see if the shower holds up. Size is a little bit smaller than the other two, or at least it feels that way, but you do have a bench in the shower to take a seat. Ease of use, I love dials like this that are just simple, but there is no handheld sprayer in here as well, like the Four Seasons, which is a little peculiar. I haven't seen a lot of luxury hotels on this channel that don't have a handheld, that only have the non-removable head nozzle. But either way, you turn the dial to turn it on. Let's test the pressure. So right away you can see something's going on with this shower head here. It's dripping over the top. There's some leakage happening. The pressure is solid. It got hot very quickly, so the pressure is nice. I definitely like it. It's the strongest pressure of the 3 showers so far. But the dripping here just doesn't scream luxury to me, or that price point. So for over $600 a night on average, you would think that the shower probably wouldn't be dripping half of the water underneath the actual sprayer itself. That's everything in this room. Have to test the bed now, so I'm gonna grab the robe and get ready for sleep, and we'll give it a score in the morning. Alexa, close the shears. Time for the last of the 3 bed tests for this video. I have my Wynn robe on, which is far less plush than the other 2, I'll say. Kind of has this sheer exterior to it. It's pretty thin. I'm going to call the front desk for that breakfast service test for the service segment later, but I want to also just say something quickly about the service in here. The turn down is a normal part of any luxury stay. It's how they set up the room before you go to sleep. Usually it includes like at least chocolates on the pillow or some kind of amenity or bottles of water at a minimum. There's nothing like that in the room. They dimmed the lights a little bit, made the bed slightly, and that's it. So that'll contribute to the service score a little bit later. Let's call that front desk and see how they do at the breakfast.
Good evening. Thank you for calling In-Room Dining. Your call is being recorded for quality assurance. Now, how may I assist you?
Hi there, could I order breakfast for tomorrow morning, please?
Absolutely. And what time are we set delivering this?
Can we have it for 7 a.m., please?
Did you want to start off with a coffee?
Yeah, great. A black coffee, please.
Perfect. And did you want any entrees, a breakfast meal?
I'll do 1 Eggs Benedict, please.
Perfect. Thank you. And maybe further assistance, Mr. Walker?
That was perfect. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Have a great night.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Bye-bye. Couple interesting things about that call. They do mention they're recording every call that you have with the front desk or concierge, which I just haven't seen before. I mean, it's good. It's what happens when you have this many rooms and you're in Las Vegas, but they didn't say that at the other hotels, so just interesting. Also, that's the first time on this channel that they have preempted me ordering a black coffee. Now, I don't think she knows we're doing a review, but it's just kind of funny that she was suggesting different things for me to try. Anyway, let's get some sleep. Something about the desert out here in Vegas. You just wake up and your eyes are so dry. Anyway, this bed was exactly the same as the Waldorf Astoria. 100% exactly the same. They may even use the same mattress. I think we have everything we need for that room score. So, the Wynn room score. Having stayed at all 3 luxury hotels in Las Vegas now, I was sure that the Waldorf was going to be the best hotel on the Strip. Now, having seen the Wynn and stayed here, I'm not sure that's the case anymore. Let's go through the positives and the negatives of this room. On the positive side, incredibly spacious. You have plenty of room to lay your luggage out, to entertain, to have meals in here and watch television. It's a very comfortable stay for that reason. Second, the modern integrations, the iPad, the Alexa is a really nice touch and makes you feel like you're connected to the staff even when there are 2,700 rooms in this building. On the negative side, that shower was nearing unacceptable. Half of the pressure is just falling into the shower while the other half is spraying out. There's no handheld sprayer, but it's still not the worst of the 3. The bed was also comfortable, but not too remarkable, and definitely not a Four Seasons bed. The final negative is the decor and design of the room. It just feels a little bit lower quality, and like the materials that they use were not as expensive or high-end as the Waldorf Astoria or the Four Seasons. Looking at all 3, I would actually prefer to stay in this room because of the creature comforts alone. However, the Waldorf Astoria room was more pleasant to look at. But if I consider everything, I gave this room a 7.5 out of 10. Now, the Wynn has 13 dining establishments on site, not including the Encore. There's also various bars and nightlife here in the building. I can't test all of those for this video. You'd be sitting here for 3 or 4 hours. But I did pick a few of my favorites that apparently are must-tries in this building. Good morning from Tableau. This is a breakfast, brunch, and lunch location at the Wynn. It's a classic American breakfast with some European inspiration as well. So the shrimp and grits have arrived, one of the best things on the menu here. So this is actually the most popular breakfast location here at the Wynn because there's an outdoor area that looks at the pool. And they serve some fun things like shrimp and grits. The plate composition here is lovely. They have full shrimps with tail on. Extraordinary. Excellent. Just truly, it's so much flavor hits you immediately. Aftertaste, subtle, slightly sweet. Those spices really are excellently paired with the grits. The shrimp is fresh. Whew. I would come back for this shrimp and grits specifically. For lunch here at the Wynn, I chose the Red 8, which is a Cantonese menu with Hong Kong barbecue and Shanghai influences. It brings me right back to Hong Kong, which I definitely miss that city. If you haven't seen those videos, be sure to check them out on the channel. Got my jasmine green tea. It's a comfortable, very calm, very elegant interior that they have here, and it's a casual dining option. Up first here, we have some prawn dumplings. Almost as good as the ones I had in Hong Kong. So the cashew chicken just arrived. I'll say at first glance, the chicken does look a little bit pale. The dish could use a little bit more color, but the smell is really nice. Had some good cashew chicken, many different hotels around the world. Chicken's a little bit gooey in the texture, I would say. It is nicely complemented with the celery and the cashew, that crunch. It's a good dish overall. Cashew chicken is hard to not have it taste fantastic. It's a classic. I would say it was all right. It was right in the middle of the line. The dumplings were strong. This one was decent, but if you're just stopping in from the casino to grab some light food here, a quick lunch, I definitely recommend the Red 8. But I can't wait to show you the dinner restaurant here at the Wynn that I've selected. This is Delilah, easily the most famous restaurant here at the Wynn. It's a 1920s themed Gatsby-esque lounge that serves some legendary items. They have live music every night, and it's one of the hardest reservations to get in Vegas. In fact, many people wait months just to sit in the dining area. Inside Delilah, there's a very strict no photo, no phones, no recording policy, so even being able to film out here is very, very rare. The reason they do that is that the other night, for example, Robin Thicke jumped on stage and did an impromptu performance for everyone. That kind of thing happens a lot here at Delilah, and it's just such a unique venue. For dinner, I chose Mizumi, which is a Japanese restaurant with one of the best ambiances of any restaurant anywhere in the world. Truly, sitting here, you have a koi pond behind me, this soft waterfall, some gentle music playing. It's an incredibly detailed dining room that they have here, and inside is some exceptional art. The lighting, the outdoor patio area here, so zen, so incredibly well done. So if you're like me, you know the atmosphere of a restaurant can really get you excited for how the dishes are gonna look and taste as well. So it is a interesting dining concept here, which is basically that as the sushi or the plates are ready, they will come out. So they don't pace out the dishes at all, they just come out once they're ready. So the first ones that were complete here are the crispy rice and shishito peppers. Crispy rice here. Whoa! So clearly where they shine is in the sashimi and the sushi and the rolls. Wow. This is very quickly becoming my favorite restaurant at the Wynn, and maybe all of Las Vegas. We'll have to see with the dessert. The dessert has arrived, and I didn't think it was possible to one-up those courses, but I now think it might be. So this is a very special melon. This is actually $28 here. It's the most expensive thing on the dessert menu. This is a Japanese mountain honeydew melon, very rare, with a small yomomomo, which is a Japanese mini peach that they put next to it as well. I think it's just a honeydew melon. Or maybe I can't taste the difference. That's possible. Let me try this little mountain peach here from Japan. They said it's a baby peach. Very interesting. That little peach was the star of the show for this dish. Such an impressive dinner menu here. This is Wing Li, which is a Michelin Guide awarded Cantonese restaurant here at the Wynn, which is very, very rare. Now on to Pisces. This is an elevated Mediterranean restaurant right on the Lake of Dreams. So yes, in the Wynn, they have a full water feature lake with waterfall here that has a show every 30 minutes in the water. Of course, being Pisces, it is a seafood-based menu here, but they have many different things and different options for their guests. Really quick after dinner, this is the Baccarat Bar. It's one of the many bars and nightlife venues that they have here at the Wynn. I'm not going to try a drink or show you all of them, but just know that if you want to get a cocktail at any hour of the day, you definitely can here at the Wynn. The dining score at the Wynn is a little bit of a harder one to give, just frankly because there are 13 restaurants here and I didn't get a chance to eat at all of them during my stay. The ones that I did try, however, had incredible atmosphere. I mean, just look at this in Mizumi or the Pool of Dreams at Pisces. All very, very impressive dining establishments. The dishes themselves only slightly could be improved, like at Red 8, for example. That chicken dish wasn't my favorite, and I'm assuming that most of you watching this, if not all of you, would feel the same way. However, it was made up for by some of the incredible dishes that I did have. You could stay here for weeks and have a different dinner every night of the week, try something new on the menu, and that alone is a major plus to the dining score. I gave the Wynn dining an 8.5 out of 10. Now, the service during my dining experiences here was definitely great, but I noticed something slightly off, so let's test the service officially at the Wynn. Because we're comparing the three hotels, I think it might be interesting to see the pricing for the exact same order at all three hotels. So, the lowest cost was the Waldorf Astoria at $58 flat. The next highest is the Four Seasons at $65.18. And here at the Wynn, this is $67.53. So, all three of those have an automatic gratuity and a service charge for delivery, but the Wynn is significantly higher, $9 more than what we had at the Waldorf Astoria. Opening the tray up here, it is equally as underwhelming as the table dressing. A nice little hash brown there, and the hollandaise is here on the side, and the hollandaise is cold. Test the runniness. Very fresh, looks good. A little bit of a thicker outside. Let's give it a try. This isn't the dining segment, but it was all right. Not a lot of flavor in there. The hollandaise is a spicy hollandaise. It's almost more like an aioli than a hollandaise. So, you know, interesting, but it was warm, it is fresh, and everything seems to have just been made. Speaking of, coffee time. I'm not a big coffee snob. I'll drink any coffee, anywhere, anytime. This one's a little bit bitter. However, for the purposes of the breakfast test, it is hot, everything is fresh, and it showed up early. Let's get changed now, get dressed, and give the Wynn that same service test we gave the other two. You know the drill. I can't wait to see how the Wynn responds to this request. Apparently their concierge and service is extraordinary. Let's see for ourselves.
For calling the Wynn concierge on a recorded line, and how late is the Walker party?
I have a bit of an odd request for you if you have a moment.
Absolutely.
I was wondering if anyone on the staff at the Wynn knows any magic tricks by chance?
Not in our department. Are you looking to have somebody come to perform?
Yeah, just like a couple tricks.
We have a vendor where you can actually hire a magician for you if you prefer.
Oh, interesting. I would be curious to hear what those rates are like.
Okay. I will follow up, and then I look forward to giving you a phone call.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, and if there is anyone that you can think of in different departments or otherwise that knows like a card trick or something, like that would be totally sufficient.
Let me go ahead and see what we can do for you.
Okay, thank you so much for your help. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Goodbye.
Bye now. Let's explore and talk about the service generally at the Wynn. Generally, the service at the Wynn is underwhelming, to be honest. All of the staff you see throughout the hotel are really just security guards, and the staff presence to support the guests is fundamentally non-existent. There's no text-based communication system, at least not one that I was on, no welcome amenity at the desk, no welcome amenity in the room, no one to show you the room when you first check in. I could go on. However, the staff we did meet, very kind, very nice, and generally I felt welcome here. Back in the room from outside, while we were out there, I did get a call from the concierge about the magician. I'm going to play it for you, and you'll see why we won't move forward here at the Wynn.
Good afternoon, Mr. Walker. This is the Wynn concierge. We did reach out to our staff. Last time we inquired about a magician, it was about $2,000. If it is something that interests you, please give us a call back. Thank you. Goodbye.
So $2,000 for the magician. Let's talk about that for just a moment. Normally, if we were just reviewing the Wynn here, maybe that would be something as a standalone that might make sense. I don't know the pricing of private magicians here in Las Vegas, but because we saw what the Four Seasons was able to do with this request at $450, that makes this not look the best. The Four Seasons went out of their way not only to accommodate the request, but also to do it at an accessible cost, relatively speaking. Now, the value is a part of the It Factor segment in just a moment here in this review, but I want to get into it slightly now because it does impact every part of this hotel stay. In the history of Las Vegas, the casinos were the primary revenue and income generators for these resorts. That was really the entire income model for this city. Now, You'll find that resorts and casinos often operate independently and separately. So these additional little service charges and extra add-ons, expensive hotel rooms, buffets that are $50, $60, $70, even $100+ are new to Las Vegas in the last couple decades. It's also why I think we're seeing a drop in tourism collectively for the city of Las Vegas, because it is just so expensive to come here now. Not only do you lose your money in the casino, most likely, you will definitely lose it when you're staying in the hotel and buying things like room service breakfast or potentially hiring magicians for you and your friends. I decided not to move forward with the $2,000 magician. Hopefully you understand. But we did get a chance to see it at the Four Seasons, so I could assume this one would have been equally as great. The Wynn, in my mind, did attempt it. They put effort into it and tried, but that price point is worth exploring further. So if you consider all of that and look at the tests as well, I gave the service for the Wynn a 7 out of 10. The location of the Wynn is really excellent. You're within a mile or walking distance of all of the major attractions, the center of the Strip. Nothing negative I could say about it. Compared to the other two luxury hotels in the area in this video, I was not thrilled with the value of my stay at the Wynn. Not only is it the highest price point per night, there are also multitudes of add-ons they charge you for, from late checkout being an extra fee to adding on faster Wi-Fi and the highest room service charge of any of the hotels. Yes, it is a stunning hotel, truly beautiful, so that could make up for the room price, but overall, the free things that you receive or amenities during check-in and otherwise don't really offset that additional cost, and I'm not sure it's a great value or worth it for the price. Other than location and value, what really makes this hotel unique? Yes, you have a lot of places like this, but that's more the ambiance than the it factor. I gave the it factor a 7 out of 10. That was the Wynn Hotel, and I can see why so many of you love it so much. I gave it a 38.5 out of 50. It is now time to compare all three hotel scores and see which one really is the best. So there you have it. Those were the leading luxury hotels here in Las Vegas, Nevada. If you combine all of the scores together throughout these reviews, I gave the Four Seasons a 34.5 out of 50. The Waldorf Astoria a 35, and the Wynn a 38.5, making it the best on the channel so far in Vegas. Let me know in the comments if you think I missed any luxury hotels out here, and maybe I'll come back and do a part 2. But until then, it's unfortunately time to check out and leave town. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Ryan Walker, and we'll see you on the next one.
It's the king of rock and roll. No, thank you. Thank you very much for hanging out in Las Vegas, because, baby, you know we love you. Don't be cruel, but come see us in Vegas, 702, baby. Thank you very much.